I've been kicked out of my near every bar around. I've been locked up for driving 120 through town. I've been shot and cut with a knife, messing around with another man's wife. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Threw my boss out the window and got fired for my last job. I wired a city truck and turned it over in the mayor's yard. Paid my brother-in-law half to death. Lost $20 on his football bet. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just
I don't know the weather.
Good old boy.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. Ash, Brent, Commander, all in the house this morning. Don't forget, Ranch Week continues at Deerland Feed. Today, go by. I'm sure they'll have lunch, lots of specials, great deals. What the heck is that?
I don't know. It's cool, though. Yeah, they're going to have all kinds of things. You can go by and just visit, and Jackie will be there. And you can, while you're there, you can grab your bag of Balin. You can get you a 21-714 blend. You can get you a red funnel. I'm sure they'll have snacks and soft drinks.
Yeah, they have some great soda pops there. I can't remember the soda company.
Ranch water.
They probably have ranch water.
Yep.
The high today is going to be 90 degrees.
Yeah.
The low 69.
There
Nice.
you go.
It's
What
gonna
is
be
it right
clear.
now? It's like 72 degrees.
It's like 72 degrees right now.
69 right now. I see an overnight low of 61.
Good. You've got West High School tonight playing at Memorial Stadium against San Antonio Alamo Heights. The weather should be nice.
Who wins that one?
West. Crystal Map, good morning. Hope you're doing good. Can the blend help dry hurting yards? I tell you what it does for me.
But
yes.
not right now. You have
Right.
to, but you've had to have been applying it to get that lush green lawn because then your roots are stronger and it does a better job.
That's
of
what I
absorbing
think it
moisture.
does is it expands. You know, St. Augustine grows like a vine, right? And then it comes up and you've got those runners. When I put the product down, not the next time, but the following time that I mow, I find those runners up on top of my lawn. Like it really boosts. It's like steroids for your lawn. And I think it makes that vine, that root more prominent and it holds more water. And therefore when it does rain, your lawn holds more water.
So would it be
don't use as much water.
testosterone or estrogen for the lawn?
I do not know that. But I'll tell you that I don't have to water as often, and my yard is still the greenest on the block, and I don't have any weeds.
But you don't scalp it when you mow it either.
No,
Like some
no,
people
I
make
leave
that
it.
mistake. Yeah.
Mine's a good solid, almost 3 inches long.
What people don't realize, you leave your grass a little longer, that helps protect it as well from the
That's
sun.
right.
Greg Garcia, Marvin Micker, Scott Tomko on the podium this morning. Good morning,
It just
guys.
wasn't prohibitively hot this summer.
Not really.
We
no.
didn't have those massive
103
week-long
degree.
100-degree things. And I never walked out in the evenings that it didn't mellow out a little bit this year. I mean, you know that all of you know that stifling heat. You walk outside at 9 o'clock at night and you're like, man, it's just like an oven out here.
The
It's
weather
not that way.
the Weather Channel must be going nuts. I bet you we're going to hear that they've got a revenue drop because they've had no hurricane coverage.
Jim Cantori is like stoving up.
Yeah, he doesn't know what to do. He had a summer off.
Absolutely.
You know, there's Tropical Storm Jerry out in the middle of the Atlantic, not doing anything, but they're going to tell you, watch out for the storm surge.
Oh, yeah.
Because they got nothing else to do.
That's
right
the
now.
weakest bull on the planet.
Absolutely.
Watch out for the storm surge.
Because they got nothing else.
Real
There's
quick, while
nothing's
we've got you, just remind you that tomorrow you have the Field of Honor volunteer opportunity. That's one I've got. So I got these
Fumbleitis.
cards. I got them. I've got these cards. But you can go. You can be a sponsor. You can sponsor a flag. You can volunteer. You can be an ambassador, a partner. There's ways for you to donate. The Field of Honor tomorrow. It's right there at Parkway Church, roughly the corner of Salem and Stockbauer. 4802 Stockbauer Drive. But tomorrow morning, they're going to want you out there to help put out flags, and there's 2,700 flags, I think.
That's what he said.
Crazy town. But all the veterans will be coming in. And remember, if you're a fishing guide, if you can donate a boat, I've been blessed to go on several of these fishing trips, and you always end up with a veteran that's a combat wounded veteran. They have various
Ailments.
Ailments is, I don't even know. It's with the right afflictions. It's not fair. Some of them are mental. Some of these guys they're just PTSD folks. Some of them, I've fished with a guy that was missing half of his leg, and but they're all of them to a man. They are super, super appreciative of this opportunity, and it's almost like Ash, that somebody on the bus had the megaphone and said, "Now don't forget, be eternally grateful for the. Don't forget to be eternally grateful," because these guys they just love, and they're just thrilled. There's very sharp individuals. These are not charity cases.
No,
these are not. This is not charity. This is respect, and it's fascinating to see their relationship. And I'll tell you,
many of them have settled in this region after coming down.
Oh yeah, but you'll go today or tomorrow to the get together, and you'll find more. There'll be older women there. It's almost like a mothering thing. There'll be ladies there that just hug these guys and just welcome them to Victoria. Quite a thing. Like, they're not doing that in Cuero.
No.
Not that Cuero's not a great place. I'm just saying Victoria, Texas does a really national newsworthy job of taking care of these veterans. I'm very proud to be a part of it. So that's tomorrow, 9:00, right? 9 a.m.
Yep.
Get out there and put out flags. It's easy. You just walk around.
And the more the merrier.
You just put them right over
the rebar's already in the ground.
No doubt.
Bobby Leister checking in. Ricky King, Stephanie Connie, Mark Cepeda, good morning. Stephanie Connie apparently wishing us money.
Yeah. Man like you could go running across that field of honor and impale yourself
I
on
could.
some.
Done it once, don't want to do it again.
The insurance guy and me just thought about the liability associated with that.
Linda Chris, P. Strauss, good morning. Karen Murray, Tammy Keeling checking in. Junior Samples, BJ Nelson, Tammy Williams.
I'm looking for someone to redo my flower beds. Does Dearland recommend anyone? I could recommend Caden and Jerry.
There you go.
I'm not telling you that if the cash is right that you might not find me in there. And Lord knows there's no one better than me when it comes to landscape.
You can direct those kids what to do very easily.
There's Carrie Bump to bump, bump, bump. Saw Carrie Bump yesterday. Sweet lady, by the way. Don't let her comments here, confuse you.
Jared McCurgan, good morning, cuz.
Junior, we're going to talk about Letitia. Let's just do it now.
Yeah.
The funny thing about Letitia James is, good morning, JP Hull. Thank you for our space. You can't get past the irony, the humor, the great humor. A grand jury indicted New York Attorney General Letitia James on charges of bank fraud and making false statements.
Where have we heard this before?
It's exactly what she pioneered against Donald Trump. Exactly. Now, her comment yesterday was, I got nothing to be worried about. This is just a weaponization of the DOJ. Well, that's exactly what she was against Donald Trump. You'll recall that Donald Trump was accused of going in and inflating the value with the help of banks. So he's got a building that's worth $100 million. He says, let's make it 150, because then he owns the building outright. So he could borrow 80% of that 150, which would be $120 million, against a $100 million building. But what everybody ignored at the time, he's lying. He's lying on an application, is that he repaid the 120. It's not like he took the money and went to the Bahamas, but the bank was happy. The bank made interest on the 120. The bank got the whole 120 back plus the interest. They tried to accuse Donald Trump of being a criminal. It's no different than what you do. It's no different than what you do. When you decide you want to sell a piece of property, you want the appraisal to be as high as it can be, right? If you're going to buy a piece of property, you want the appraisal to be high so that your mortgage goes through easy. But when you come time to pay taxes, you want that appraisal to be low, low, low. Nobody here would be offended if your $500,000 house appraised for $250,000
For tax purposes.
for tax purposes.
Try to sell it.
You wanted to appraise for $720,000.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's just good business. Well, Letitia James, unfortunately, doesn't fall into that realm because what she did is she went and lied on her application saying, yes, this will be my primary residence.
Allegedly.
It's only a $119,000 house. I mean, it's in New York. It can't be much.
No, for Norfolk, Virginia.
Oh, she's in New York. Yeah, so it's clearly not her primary residence. And yet she's turned around and she got a loan based on it being her primary residence. What's funny is it would only save her $19,000 over the course of the loan. So Donald Trump's being a little nitpicky here, but at the same time,
Well,
they're saying, you did it to me. Here it is.
Well, the other thing that would get me as a New Yorker, she's supposed to live in the state of New York, and she's claiming she was living in Virginia at the time, yet as Attorney General of New York, she's required to live in New York.
Right.
In order to stay in her position. So if she was living in Virginia as Attorney General, what does that do to the legality of all the cases that she tried?
Here's the deal, though. If you're the Attorney General of New York and you're falsifying bank documents and property records in an attempt to acquire government-backed assistance and loans for more favorable loan terms, you're being an entitled oligarch politician and you deserve to go to jail. And Donald Trump is sitting in the White House just giggling at the fact that Lindsay Halligan, the U.S. attorney, said no one is above the law. Have we not heard that before?
Oh, yeah.
And touche, right? What do they say? What is it? Vengeance? What is it that's a dish best served cold? Is it revenge? There you have it. So say what you want about Donald Trump. Yeah, like Junior adds, the difference is Trump paid the loan back with interest. No doubt. She going down, Letitia James.
Could face 30 years in prison.
Yeah, that's a little bit much,
Yeah,
but I think she'll
she
probably
will.
have to resign.
Yeah.
Good.
What's the latest on it's interesting because all of a sudden what happened in Gaza yesterday is superseding the latest allegations that Joe Biden knew what his son was doing and tried to keep investigators from looking at what his son's business dealings and his role in all of them.
Yeah. No doubt. Joe Biden. Come.
Gaza still tried, or Hamas still tried to screw up the Gaza thing yesterday, the peace deal. As Israel's Knesset was voting on it, some Hamas terrorist decided to kill an Israeli soldier.
A sniper shot him.
And that set off a response from Israel into the Gaza. Thankfully, it didn't derail anything because the Israeli parliament hadn't quite finished voting in favor of accepting the deal, but it came real close. That's how close Hamas came to derailing the whole peace process, because one of their terrorists, and as I heard this morning from an analyst whose name I cannot remember, Fleur Hassan, and I think is her Twitter handle or X handle. Hamas produces nothing but terrorism. And boy, she nailed it with that one, because there's nothing that they produce.
Yep.
You know, these aren't like government-owned companies that produce oil and gas or a government-owned farm. They produce terrorism. That's all they produce.
That's right. Questions asked. So if you won't sell your home for the appraised tax value, is it appraised properly? A home that the home is appraised, it should be appraised for what the market will bear, right? I mean, if I decide that my house is worth $250 a foot and I put a price on it, but the market says, well, but it is 10 years old. The market says it's worth $200 a foot. Well, it costs $260 a foot to rebuild it. Yeah, but we're not rebuilding it. We're buying it pre-owned. You know, the market determines value. But I think if you're going to do, as we do now, the CAD for tax purposes, and the only reason to me that property taxes make any sense at all is the stability of taxation. It's not fair. It's not fair that let's say that you and I make exactly the same income, but you choose to live in a small 1-bedroom house and save your money
with an outhouse, so I don't have any plumbing.
I choose to live in a big old house with just me and Dawn, but yet I pay a lot more in property taxes than you do. And by the way, we both buy a gallon of milk a week. We both buy laundry. We both all these things. And the only problem is the economy doesn't drastically affect property values. It does affect them. I'm not saying that if the economy tanks that home values don't go down, but asset value remains pretty consistent. So to a degree, lawmakers have taken the easy way out, the low-hanging fruit of simply
taxing the rich.
That's what they do. Yeah. And Monty Howard says, yeah, fair market value. The unfettered marketplace, no abatements, none of this stuff, will determine what a property is worth and it will also determine its highest and best use, right? Like if I say, well, this would be a great house. John Paul says, yeah, but it cash flows if I rent the offices. It's the market solves all problems. It's just, it's hard to put a number on it for tax purposes.
And I think if Victoria had a more robust housing market, nobody would really complain about.
You're going to see more and more inventory in our housing market. It's going to happen. I'm convinced that Terry Murray, who knows a lot about this, says a home appraisal uses recent comparable sales with adjustments based on differences in amenity size, room count, etc. The adjustments have to stay within a certain percentage or it isn't considered a comp.
Makes sense.
That makes sense.
And there are some jurisdictions that use basically your market value as the basis for your taxable value.
Well, I think you use the
Victoria,
market value. You use the market value as your argument against the CAD. If the CAD says my house is worth X number of dollars and I can see the exact same floor plan built by the same builder in the same neighborhood sold for 80% of X, I can take that to the CAD and say, hey, help me. I would say that
there's the problem with the CAD. And then, I mean, for a long time, who you were dictated the property value.
And your willingness to go complain dictated your property value. I mean, now it can be told because the guy that did it wasn't there, but and I don't own the house anymore, but you know my little house over in Windcrest. Mm-hmm. I had a little 3-bedroom, 2-bath house over there in Windcrest, and my taxes had gone up and up and up and up. And I went to the CAD and went and visited. I cannot remember the gentleman's name. Many of you would know, worked at a stand-up desk, super nice guy.
It wasn't Halliburton, was it?
Let me tell you how nice he was. I went in and said, hey, man, my taxes are just too high. This is dumb. I'd sell, you've heard this. Write me a check. I'll sell you that house for that number. He goes into their computer, turned my 3-2 into a 2-1. My number went back down. I walked out with a smile. True story. Straight up. Yeah. There you go. It's a voter's fault. Right? Yeah, oh, yeah, it's a voter's fault. No, Texas won't ever have a state income tax. That's one of the things. That's one of the cornerstones of this state. We won't have a state income tax.
There's been a lot of talk at the national level of going to like a value-added tax, a federal sales tax, to get rid of income taxes at the federal level. Here's the problem with that, because I've seen this happen in other countries that have added these taxes. They don't get rid of the income tax.
And it never goes down. Here's the other thing to know.
Well, it does at some point. Canada actually reduced theirs from 7 to 5%, but they never eliminated federal income tax either. It just became more money for the government to spend. And that's my biggest fear here in the U.S. If this really got a push, lawmakers would have to repeal every law they've ever passed regarding federal income taxes before they can implement a federal value-added tax, sales tax, whatever you want to call it, or you'll just have another tax on top of another federal tax.
Well, the problem that we have is people get all idealistic and they want to push a consumption tax. And I like the idea of a consumption tax because if you can't afford it, don't buy it. And if you don't buy it, you don't pay taxes. And it would make you stop and think, is it worth? But what people haven't contemplated, everybody gets romantic and they're like, well, like right now, let's say the tax is 8.25%. Well, man, what if we just went to 12%? I mean, yeah, it's another 3.25%, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't have income. I wouldn't have property taxes. What a blessing. Well, here's the deal. I can back into how much my property taxes are around $9 or $10 a year. Just call it $1 a month. And I had another 3% to spend $1 a month. All I'd have to spend, I have to spend $10,000. Anyway, the government would back into the amount they need. And that number, everybody agrees, is well over 20%. So it's romantic to say, look, well, let's make it 15%. The state government says, whoa, we're cutting services. 15% won't make up for all the property tax we collect. So it's not a tax based on any logic, or it's based on, we've got to figure out how much money we need to feed the machine. And then we have to divide it by the gross sales of the state every week. And then we've got to back into it. And when they back into it, that number will never go down.
No,
because from 28 to 30 to 32. We got to help education, 35.
Because they have governments everywhere typically have a spending problem, not a revenue problem. And until the state stops spending $50 billion surpluses, they could never go to that model. The federal government could never go to that model because we're $36 trillion in debt.
But see, I got a friend in Austin. He lived in kind of southeast Austin before it was trendy. Bought a house over there for about $350,000 in 10 years. Coach, it's worth almost $2 million. Now, in those 10 years, his income hasn't gone up sixfold. And he's now paying taxes on a $2 million house. He said, well, he's got an expensive home, but his income hasn't gone up that way.
No.
And as a result, I mean, he's real estate poor. In theory, he's a millionaire. In reality, he's working to pay his taxes.
And Chris says we can never own our own property. That's very discouraging. It would be understandable if they needed it, but Texas has a huge surplus.
Right.
And there have been years where Texas hasn't. But I mean, the $50 million in the last 2 legislative sessions, we just kicked that to some New York company to oversee school vouchers.
50 million, not 50
or
billion.
yeah, sorry.
It was just 1/1000.
Yeah, I was off by a letter.
Yeah.
But think about it. $50 billion in the last 2 legislative sessions, the last 2 budget bienniums, and the government has spent it all. Well, we're going to give you property tax relief. They buy your loyalty with your own money.
That's right.
In an unsustainable property tax relief hug. I don't know another word. It's just like to make you feel like they're doing something when they really haven't done anything. What are some of these
Says,
alternatives?
I don't know the
always
alternatives.
brings up?
Says alternatives other than just sales tax to property tax have been sitting on the shelf in Austin since 2019. Why 2019? Just sitting there while we keep sending the same folks back to Austin.
No,
which
we
of
didn't
course
send the
we
same
don't
folks.
send the same folks back to Austin. We will this time.
And we did for the last.
AJ
20
Louderback
terms.
will go back as our state rep. I can't. No sensible Republican's going to run against AJ, and I can't imagine any Democrat around here who thinks they're going to make a dent. So,
Tammy, put a link up to where these alternatives.
I'd
can
like
be
to see
found,
those
'cause I'd like to
alternatives.
see them
I'm not above
You
studying
always
them.
no. You always refer to them,
Junior
but you don't
says
provide any resources to where they are. What's your source?
with property tax, the owner really never owns the property outright. There's always rent to the government, and we pay for stupid crap with our tax dollars. Greg Garcia says property taxes need to go away. It makes no sense at all to pay for something that you already paid for. Pure idiocy and corruption. I'll tell you something that I don't think makes any sense. And I don't think this makes any sense at all. We bought this gear, all this gear that's in this office belongs to me and Ash, except it's Cody's and it belongs to him. And every year, Ash and I get a tax bill from the county telling us that we need to pay taxes on what we already own that we paid for with after-tax dollars. This is my stuff. Why am I writing a check to the county over stuff that's mine? And I know what they would say. Well, there's no other way for us to raise money. Well, then find a way to quit spending so much.
You were taxed on your money before you bought the stuff. You were taxed with sales when you bought the stuff. And then each year you're taxed
For
by the
owning
county
the stuff.
For owning the stuff. Yeah.
I think it's absurd. And I deal with businesses every day, thank the Lord.
And the property taxes work the same way. You make an improvement with after-tax dollars, and you buy it and pay sales tax on that materials.
In theory, you're going to make money. You add property, you add value to your property, hoping that you make revenue when you sell it, but you spend 50 grand adding on a small patio or something. And then they tax you on it every year. So by the time you sell it, it still costs you money. It doesn't enhance your property.
Not to the tune that they usually up your property value.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a racket. Property taxes
No, it's a
is
racket.
a racket because governments can't check their spending. Even our own governments here. Well, we're going to set the tax rate, the effective tax rate. And then they'll go, we haven't raised your taxes.
Yeah. John
No,
Paul says the tax on business equipment every year is a shocker when you are a new business owner. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand.
I've got a storage shelf in a closet of my warehouse for janitorial supplies, and I have to get taxed on that.
Terry Murray says on the ballot in November, Proposition 9 allows the legislature to exempt from property taxation $125,000 of the market value of tangible personal property that is held or used for the production of income. Why? This would provide a needed tax relief to businesses, particularly small businesses across Texas, like us. Our gear may add up to 50 grand.
Not even.
No.
Even brand new.
I was trying to make us
I know.
bigger than we were.
Shh, people at the CAD are listening.
Yeah, right.
Don't do that. Next thing you know,
rewrite. Our gear may add up to $5,000, but we paid for it with after-tax dollars. So why should we pay taxes on it any longer? And I don't know why but here's the deal.
you're going to get indicted by you if you keep inflating.
Letitia James coming down here. I don't understand though. I mean, I know the answer. The long-term answer is because, well, how else are we going to get money? It's just today's reminder that the government does nothing to produce anything. All it does is take from you.
Yeah.
And as illogical as it is that this was a $3,000 TV and that we have to depreciate it so that we can pay taxes on it every year is absurd, except that your county officials would say, well, how else are we going to get money? Well, I don't know. Maybe you need to charge for animal services. I don't know. By the way, you don't know this and you didn't hear this from me because this is not like public stuff, but I want y'all to start getting mentally ready for. And I have this from multiple sources that shall remain nameless. You're getting ready to see the city and the county come at each other over our fire departments. The lunacy of our fire department wanting to be civil servants by definition and achieve collective bargaining. You must vote against this when it comes up. All it will do is cost you money. And it's avoidable. And we're already making plans to pay our fire department more. So you do not want to vote for these. It sounds romantic. Oh, let them collectively bargain. No, we don't need a union in our fire department. But these, you may recall that the county pays the city to be involved in fire.
Yeah.
But I've been told, or to just say, I know that there's bargaining chips involved, animal services, and like, for example, the library. For some reason, the city covets the library. The city seems to think that full city block with that 40,000 square foot library building on it, I've been told the city has offered the county $1 million for that. We want it. We want to control the library. We'll give you $1 million for it. Now, immediately I go, wait a minute. So the city takes my tax dollars and buys an asset from the county that paid for it with my tax dollars, and then they'll probably raise the value of it. We'll get taxed on it somehow. The whole thing is just a Ponzi scheme, right? Where's the P? There, it'll move this over here. There's the P. But you're going to see for sure. John Paul says, how much is the roof repair on the library? I don't know. But let's just tax somebody and fix it.
Does it need a new roof?
Yeah, I don't know. Does it need a new roof? If it needs a new roof, then the county ought to fix the roof. They own the building.
Why does the city covet the library?
But because it's an asset in downtown. All cities, ultimately, they're in the real estate business. You see how big? Do you see how much land is at West High School? Do you see how much land is at East High School? I drove by Shields Elementary the other day. It's been there since the 50s. Do you know they've got like 4 square blocks over there? Shields Elementary. There's fields out there that all they've done for 60 years is mow them. They don't have a sports field on it. There's not a set of goalposts on it. There's not a baseball diamond on it. It's just a big-ass yard that your tax dollars pay for and mow every week. VISD ought to sell that, put up some low-cost multifamily housing, and pay for their crap. Put up your own condos, the VISD Section 8 housing. I don't get it.
We take a break?
We need to, because I'm on a roll this morning. You want some of me? Get it. Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends. Come on into Palace Bingo and have a great time.
23rd, we'll be there.
You're helping 7 local charities when you do that. Palace Bingo, your place to be. USA Concrete Coatings. Hello, boss. USA Concrete Coatings. 578-HOME. Let Charlie Garcia come out and help you and yours. You can put down the toughest nails polyurethane coat that won't
crack, stick, peel, or fade.
Veracruz Restaurant, today's Chicken Fried Friday. Get in today for that gravy. You got to have a chicken fried steak before the football game. Veracruz.
Tomorrow.
Best Mexican food in town. Veracruz Restaurant. Allen's Wrecker Service, 578 6300. Allen's is your go-to toe-to. Let Allen's help you get from here to there. They'll do it at the dollar floor store for all your flooring needs, period.
Carpet right now, 79 as low as 79 cents a square foot.
There you go.
$15.99 a pound ribeyes at the chopping block. $3.99 wings. It's Wacky Wing Week. And I bet you they sold out of the barbacoa.
There you go. Monty Howard, why? Why should a 5A high school be on 65 acres?
My question.
Why? I don't understand. For future expansion, Section 8 housing. That's what ought to be there. White Trash Services, White Trash Site Services. Let White Trash help you have a trash-tastic day. White Trash, 550-1826. Call and talk to a real person, a live body.
No phone tree.
Let White Trash help you. Chestic Furniture Company. Chesnick and Love make your house a home. Get by and see why you just always do better at Chesnick. Bobby Leon and his family serving you and yours for over 100 years. Yeah. Check that. Over 100 years. We're joined now by the man in the big hat. The man in the big hat is buying. Drink up while the drinking is free. House District 30 State Representative A.J. Lauterbach. Hello, sir.
Good morning.
That is
morning.
the first
man.
time. The last time I saw you in stripes of any type, you were calling a ball game. It was years ago. This must be like casual Friday for
Yep.
state. I'm used
Yep.
to seeing you in a blue button down or a white button down. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Doing well.
You
Been a busy week.
I'm sure that I knew you had to go to Austin at least one day.
Yeah. We had some pretty good things on ICE detention center that are here in Texas. That's a major deal. We need detention space here. The Biden administration, Obama administration, both cut a lot of ICE beds out. They decimated the ICE ranks, personnel left in droves, and of course, we didn't need many detention beds during the Biden administration because
No, they're all on the
everybody was out.
streets.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, by design, so intentionally.
What well, while we've got you here, who's going to win this weekend, Texas or Oklahoma?
Ooh,
It's going to be a tough one, isn't it?
yeah,
I think Mateer's playing. Mateer's a better quarterback than Arch Manning.
Even with a surgically repaired right thumb, he may be. And that somebody said that the Mateer kid, the quarterback that came down from Washington State, they're saying he's probable. I'm like, the Texas OU game is the reason the kid came down here.
Yeah.
He's playing. They're going to
That and
say,
a few million NIL dollars.
yeah, shoot
I
that
would say,
thumb. And
Texas is in a good place right now.
I think OU wins.
We're looking at the Aggies now.
Right? We got to cheer for the Aggies. And the
Absolutely.
Aggies are doing good.
Absolutely.
Tammy Williams says the Sooners win unless UT finds a new quarterback. They've got a new quarterback. This Matthew Caldwell. You want to talk about football hero? Of course, the kid's already graduated from Troy. He's a senior, and he came down. He transferred down, and he's working on. They called it a graduate certificate. I don't guess he can get like an MBA in 1 year, but he's getting. It's in a communication and leadership. Sounds kind of iffy to me, but anyway, he's doing that.
Yeah. It's like a 1 year. It's like continuing education credits.
Right. But the kid is you want to talk about he's 6'4", 210, good looking young man. I'm sure he's living his best life after leaving Troy and coming to Austin, Texas.
Did a pretty good fourth quarter last week. Did
Yes,
pretty good
sir.
completion.
He did good. What do you we've been ranting this morning about taxation, and I know that you hear enough of that. Are there viable options, in your opinion, to be implemented to do something about property taxes besides just saying, well, we're going to exempt more? Is there a way to replace the property tax that is feasible?
Well, I think more important than that is let's go back one step, and what I think is really paramount importance is that there seems to be the will to do something about property taxes. Now, I don't know if there's a workable plan to eliminate property taxes, I would be fine with that.
So hybrid, modify it.
But I think that we've always had a process or a pathway to reduce property taxes and still fund cities, counties, and state governments. So I think that there is the attitude, talk, the feeling is in both chambers that something will be done about property taxes here in Texas, because it continues to rise. I mean, look at Austin, Travis County. I mean, it is a huge back-to-back increase in property taxes and taxation. So it is by far and away, week after week after week, when someone comes and tugs on my shoulder, texts or calls me, about 3/4 of those complaints and issues and things are about property taxes.
John Paul Hall says, howdy, AJ. Monty Howard has what I think is a decent idea, although it would require a reduction in spending at the current rates. He says on property taxes, just set it at the initial purchase price and then just leave it. And that you say, well, gee, if you buy a house for $250 and it goes up to being worth $1 million, why would it still be at $250? Number one, it would encourage you to stay and own that property. And number two, homes are selling all the time. So when I sell that house and it goes from $250 and I sell it for $600, now you're getting taxes on the $600. That would probably take care of itself.
Well, and really, when you think about it, when California is looking at and some state federal senators on the leftists want to tax unrealized gains on things, this is what property tax is. It really is a tax on unrealized gains.
By the way, Tammy Keeling, second call for a source or a link. So what replaces property tax? Solutions have been on the shelf since 2019. Property tax reform now. Tammy Keeling shouting from the rooftops, but again, with vague weirdness. Tell us the options. Give us a link.
Well, she's echoing what we're. I think the time is right, and I think like I say, there's a will in government with large numbers, House and Senate both, that I think that the time is now that we have to do something. So
they say where there's a will, there's a way, unless the government is in the way.
But there's several things. John Paul Hall obviously is on to something there, but that's not all. There's several ways in cutting spending. I mean, we've got a spending problem here, and that's every.
Well, that's been my contention. Until you stop spending a $50 billion surplus the last 4 years, you can't reduce property taxes because they need that money.
Well, that's a common cry that I hear.
Yes, sir.
Need more funding. Need more money.
By the way, we did declare you the winner of your next election, and just being clairvoyant, seeing into the future. It seems absurd to me that we're
calling it early.
We're calling it early with no ballots in. Wade and Carter has determined, but I can't get my head around the fact that we're already back to campaign season.
Well, it's a treadmill. We just, it's every 2 years. So we knew that going in. And
yes, sir.
I don't think you're never not campaigning. It's just, it's every 2 years, and accept it and move on. And we'll see. It's a free job. So anyone can run for it. So, we stand ready to take on any challenges.
Well, absolutely. And you're going to have a tough time. You were freshman of the year. You're going to have a tough time trumping it with your sophomore season.
They have a sophomore of the year award.
Right. Do they even? Yeah. By then he's just, he's an old hat. No, I've been more invested time-wise in the legislature since you've been there than I've ever been before. and I
thank
do
you.
like the politics of it. I like sitting in the gallery and listening to the banner and realizing, oh, all this person's doing is just flapping their gums. They're not really making a point. They're just trying to stall the process. And I see the need for strong leadership, for David Burrows to be a strong, even stronger speaker that says, no, we're not doing that. We're fixing to take a vote.
Well, it's being an effective lawmaker, which I've have such an advantage in that I've spent years up there, seeing what works, seeing how the process is done, and it's truly an advantage to have relationships built and doing some. So we my lane, first lane there in the House is obviously public safety, which we have some major things coming on that. So we're working already in the interim here, trying to establish some real things that can move the industry forward, move law enforcement, public safety, move it forward, and solve some of the things that have been haunting us for a very long time.
Seems like the border's under control.
The border is under control.
Is it just we didn't add a whole bunch of border patrol agents? We didn't spend a whole bunch more money. We just said that's it.
Now we plussed up ICE, but you also have worth note is that we've got a willing partner now, President Trump in office, and our main ally that we've had, which probably is 65% of what goes on at the border, comes out of Mexico. So with compliance and Mexico stepping up and willing to work with this nation, it's always been part of the equation that no one talked about much, but I've always known that part of the problem was Mexico.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Interestingly enough, I saw a number yesterday, and I don't remember the source, but the original source was Customs and Border Patrol. Illegal crossings are to their lowest level in 50
since
years.
1970.
Well, let me put it to you this way. So almost daily, we have new record lows,
right,
coming from the U.S. Border Patrol.
I mean, Gerald Ford / Jimmy Carter was the administration's the last time border crossings have been this low.
Tammy Williams says, it feels like more has been passed since you have been there. Common sense laws have been passed. I can see that.
There's been a transformation in the House. That's one thing. So we have definitely governing from the right, and it's tracking from the right. The speaker did a very good job this year, governing from the right and common sense, conservative values, and I think that's what this country is demanding.
Do you see any challenges to the speaker the next legislative session?
None.
Interesting.
There may be a
But there's no demand to remove him.
No, there'll be nothing from the Republican side.
Do you think
opinion.
I'm never afraid just to ask you anything, but I have to temper that with saying I know there's things that you may not want to answer, and that's fine. But are we off base in thinking that Governor Abbott seems to be kind of ratcheting up some of his public comments and some of his positions? Is it plausible that he's dipping a wheel into the water to see if there's a chance he could run for president?
Well, I'm sure it's a thought in the process of things, being the governor of a red state. So I'm sure it's a thought there. He's thought about it before. Just timing and personnel wasn't right.
Well, Ash and I pointed out last week, we equally found it odd that Abbott held a press conference that Texas stands with Israel. Okay, well, we know the country stands with Israel, and Texas is part of the country. How exactly does Texas stand with Israel? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm all for it, and I don't disagree with his position at all. We just both agreed that was kind of an unnecessary PR stunt. I mean, you know, I was kind of like, okay, he's just trying to get his name, and it did. It made national news. You know that it was on. I think I saw
Monday
it on
morning,
CNN
we were
on
watching
Monday morning.
Well, it's a good message when you could do something like this. You know, I approved of this. I mean, it was a good thought in a time when Christians are being murdered all over the world.
Very
It-
interesting that
it-
in Nigeria, there's a group
Oh,
that are
it's-
saying, hey, man, you know, they're after.
Thank you, Bill Maher, for bringing this to light.
It does make me wonder when you, and I know you see it through law enforcement eyes, and New York police officers saying if Mandami is elected, we may all just resign. I think
That's alarming if you're in New York City and crime being where it is right now.
when you get these deals,
It's 45,000 cops.
think about that. And they're hard to replace overnight. Of course, he would be happy. He wants to defund the police anyway, right?
Yeah.
Why do we need prisons? You start to
He's an avowed
wonder.
communist.
And hire a bunch of social workers.
But when you're an Islamic communist immigrant, I mean, I get it that we can vote ourselves into oblivion if we choose to, but when do you just say enough? No, you're not on our ballot. You're not part of the process.
Well, I think people have to understand that we're still infidels.
That's right. And that's where I'm going with
That's-
that. Yeah, I don't believe that you can be a practicing Muslim and be committed to upholding the Constitution of the United States because you don't believe in a separation of church and state. You believe that the church is the state.
We'll take 2 minutes and look at what's going on in UK and Britain.
I bet you they wish they would have
In
slammed
London.
down on their immigration a while back.
I think so.
They're all starting to in Europe now.
You see these horror stories in France of you know, I'm all about practice your religion any way you want, but I don't inhibit you when I practice. The Muslims going out and putting down their prayer mats like on I-10 and just deciding we're going to have prayer here. I mean, I'd have to go into four-wheel low to get over all those people. You know, I don't know what you do. I mean,
There's parts of Paris that the police won't even go into anymore. They've given it up.
And they're practicing Sharia law there, and that's something we will
which is against
we'll have to make
our
sure.
laws. Yeah.
Yeah.
Abbott's been hard on that. I went the other day. I challenge any of you folks to do this. I found a map that shows you where all the mosques are in Dallas. It's unbelievable. You could walk all day from mosque to mosque to mosque. There's 100 in the Dallas metropolitan area.
slowly but surely.
That's right. And they've been doing it for 3,000 years, Coach. They're in it for the long game.
They're more patient than the Chinese.
That's right.
That was interesting. State Department fired a staffer for apparently sleeping with a member of the CCP who was on the do not fornicate with list.
Apparently Chinese women are easy. I'm just saying every time you turn Eric Swalwell, all these.
That's their job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the assignment.
Yes. I didn't want to do it. I felt like I had to do it. Yeah.
Told to do.
And these leftists feel they owe it to their country to do it.
That'd be, yeah, exactly. What else is going on? We have digressed on a Friday morning.
Ooh, I think hot topics. We kicked the campaign off this week, so had a busy week, got a busy weekend coming up.
And next week you've got something exciting
yes,
too, right?
yes, we've got our 15th. We've got grand opening of our district office here in Victoria, there at Heritage Mark. So please come by there at 6:30.
It was nice to see Agricultural Commissioner Sid Miller come in.
Yeah, kind of surprised.
I could tell he had surprised you when he walked in the door. You're like, for a second, I thought it was Larry Hagman from Dallas. I did. But he's now. I mean, he is a handshaking, greeting.
Well, he is,
guy,
he's as agricultural commissioner here in Texas. I think he's done a superb job in a lot of areas. And in fact, he was working, writing testimony for a hearing in El Campo. And that's why on the way back out, they just he stopped by.
Went to buy.
And he and his team had a evening meal there at Greek, and so it was a good thing to see him. But the screwworm issue, which I've been to a number of events over the past 3 weeks, and probably the past 3 months about what we're doing and what the federal government is doing on screwworms. And I mean, you have to understand this could be a devastating issue for us. Back, and I come from a cow-calf operation when I was growing up, and remember us pouring Coral and different things on screwworms and fighting the screwworm issue. So it could be devastating.
I've heard stories, sir, of and I tell you where you'll get Texans involved in this wholeheartedly is when people realize that people can get a screwworm and your deer population.
Well,
I've heard horror stories of deer walking.
$11 billion deer industry here in the
just
state.
missing chunks, like a big hole in their neck.
I mean, but it's any warm-blooded animal.
Wow.
So
and it's just picture a big wound full of maggots. That's what it's going to look like.
Yeah. So they, we had a pretty good wall for many years at the Darien Gap, and that's been penetrated now. So we've had 2 cases now, very near the Texas border.
Mm.
So it is a major deal. I think they put $750 million into the program in Mexico, in South America, re-outfitting the sterile fly output, doing a lot of things there. But as we prepare for this issue, and it's great to have the federal commissioner, Brooke Rollins, in office. She's from Texas here.
Adam Sugar says this is Donald Trump talking. We're going to end illegal immigration by placing life-size statues of Sheriff Representative Louderback all along the southern border.
It'll replace the wall.
Right. AJ doesn't apprehend illegal aliens. He stares at them and they go back across the border
on their own accord.
But this it seems to me, and I'm going to get with Jackie Parsons on this. And by the way, you should go down today. You should go by today to have her, what's it called?
It's
Ranch Week. And they're having snacks and drinks.
Lunch and all sorts of
lots of folks
today
there that vote for you. And I think there should be a way that you can just treat a cow and make it essentially immune to the screwworm. I know that that's awful simplistic. I know there's people working on that, but it seems like, for lack of the right thing, just give them some ivermectin, and the screwworm won't bite them, that kind of thing.
Ivermectin plays a role.
Yes, sir.
But there's some
permethrin, I think, does as well.
Dextromethorphan, that's been approved now for use, and so there's baits. And of course, one of the most effective ways is sterile flies. It probably take us 2 years to build it in Mission, Texas, but we state and federal government funding a huge operation in Mission, a sterile fly facility. So
somebody put down at the bottom, AJ trumps the brother man. But here's what I want to tell you. What the great thing, the great thing about Brother Gary Moses, of course, Gary, you can listen on Magic 95.9 when we're gone. Gary will be there with the Hall of Famer Ralph Salazar. But Brother Gary is so humble about what he does that he'll say, well, I was on my way down there, but I heard y'all had AJ on, and I'll get with y'all next week. He will pick Texas to beat Oklahoma because that's what he does, and he'll pick A&M to win. And that I've always appreciated that Gary would say, "Oh no, y'all had the state rep on that. That's more important." So thank you, Brother G.
Man.
He's a good man. Yes,
Good
sir.
man.
You got big plans for the weekend?
Ooh, I've got.
I know where you'll be tomorrow at 11.
Pretty heavy week. We've got Quail Turkey Fest. We've got a number of things. I think I'm speaking over VEC Electric Co-op tomorrow, and I've got another speaking engagement on Sunday.
Tell Blaine hi. We're
Farm
big
Bureau.
VEC fans.
Yep.
They do a great job.
Absolutely.
Keep their rates low.
So it's pretty packed in weekend.
I saw Trey Rushop the other day, and he got reelected to their board with no challenger.
He kindly corrected you because you said something like there's been a Rushop on that VEC board forever, and he said,
I said, you've been on there since they invented electricity. And he said, no, we invented electricity. His dad was on the board out. Sammy was on the board out at Steck forever. I mean, forever.
Very accomplished.
Yes.
A&M plays Florida this weekend. You think?
I think
Florida
A&M.
can
I think
pull
A&M
up-
pounds
pull it
Florida.
off?
Yeah, I
Upset?
think A&M pounds Florida. I think A&M wins handily, just as Texas should have and wasn't good enough to do. But well, you look sharp, sir. You look fit. We're very proud that you represent us. And if there's anything we can do,
Thank you. And always, you need something for your constituents and listeners, reach out, need something I can help with, please do.
Stop by in the office, the new office grand opening on the 15th. Is that
15th.
right?
15th.
In
We have been-
Heritage Mark building. What time is the
4:30.
4:30? There you go.
we have been
Up on the
told
second floor.
that there's never been anybody as accessible as you are. And I know Terry Murray does a great job here. You can find Terry.
Certainly does. I've got a great staff. We're here to serve, and I'm here to try to get people engaged, inform them on what's going on, because an informed public is a better public.
Amen.
That's the way to do it. So, appreciate y'all.
Cowboys and
Yes,
the
sir.
Panthers. Cowboys can win that one in Carolina.
No, Carolina. No. Yeah, I think
Be the Cowboys' second tie.
I think
That's
they
good.
will.
That's good. That's a good call.
Hey, top of the hour, folks. Have a great day. We love you. Have a good weekend, Commander. We'll see you Monday. Maybe we'll be here Monday. Tune
It
in.
is Columbus Day.
Love you guys.
Bye, folks.
Bye-bye.
Kick down my new